Welcome to SVPod. Stanford Steve is alongside. He was at my house before I was because I was still sleeping.
Got home all right?
I did.
Did you know where we were when we landed?
Sort of. It's a little. It's more. We're fine.
If you would have guessed, was it Pennsylvania or West Virginia?
What?
Where we landed?
Seemed West Virginia-y. Maybe could have been York, PA. Hard to say.
Found the bathroom?
I did.
Good.
Felt like it could have been a horror movie scene. Like it could have been like a bad end. Who's here but me? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just me. And here we are. Back from a doubleheader night where Lamar Jackson changed, I think, the MVP odds.
He did.
Well, he should have. Because what that guy seems to have in the bag is, at the moment, and remember last year, it was kind of everybody was bad at the beginning. Not bad. There was just nobody that was obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I remember we had Barnwell on maybe around this time, and we're like, who's the best player in the NFL? This was a year ago. And then over time, it became pretty clear it was Jackson. He's better this year than he was last year, I think.
Okay.
I think part of the reason he's better is you have Derrick Henry as well. Their offense is interesting to me, and you were making fun of me, but it's on a week-to-week basis. It's just it might be Flowers might show out, Bateman might get his like he did last night. Likely had the great game to start the season. Mm-hmm. Andrews was forgotten. Well, he's back from beyond in the last couple weeks. I talk a lot about Detroit's weapons, and we'll talk about them again. The variety of Baltimore's offense with Monken pushing the buttons, it seems like it's as varied and difficult to stop as any team in the NFL. And Jackson just on a giant stage, 5 touchdowns on Monday Night Football. He's got 20 touchdowns and no picks in his career on Monday Night Football, which is just a remarkable statistic. And we started saying this at 2-2, and Chiefs fans get mad again. You beat Baltimore, I know. I think Baltimore is a better team.
Yeah, 23-1 in his career against the NFC, too. So you're thinking just if he could ever get to the Super Bowl, automatic win.
Well, yeah, and the Chiefs right now are saying, yeah, and he couldn't because he couldn't beat us on his home field. You're right. That happened.
And that loss is to the G-Men in MetLife. And we know what they are. We'll get to them.
Wow.
Hold.
Thank you.
Hold, please.
Thank you.
Let's talk about good teams. No, it's great. I've always loved Monken. I always thought, when you watch Georgia, it was like, is this receiver a pro? Is this guy a pro? And then it got to the point where Bowers got another year. Like, all right, Brock Bowers is definitely a pro. He's going to get the ball a bunch. Ladd McConkey, when he's healthy, he's going to get the ball a bunch. And then he has, Arian Smith is still there. Dominic Lovett's still there. And those guys, work their way in. He always had running backs to get the ball. All those running backs are in the NFL, too. Zamir White, Cook. There's another one, too. I forget, there's 4 of them in the league. And when you think about the diversity of that offense, and I look at is Monken feels comfortable about putting more and more on Lamar's plate. Now you factor King Henry coming in. That's a whole different animal. I mean, you saw them last night, and I was really interested. I trust Todd Bowles as much as anybody with defense. They come out, they go up 7-0. They're about to go 14-0. And Baker misassesses the coverage in the end zone. He's late with a throw. I think it was McMillan that was wide open, where Humphrey comes from out of bounds, picks off the pass because Baker's late, and it's over. It is over. The Ravens go right down the field. Had a chance to make it 21-10 after it was 10-0, and it ends up 17-10 at half. But the pendulum had swung all the way. The Buccaneers were on their heels. They lose Evans, and they're just and the Ravens really ramped up the pass because Tampa knew they weren't having success running the football, and Baker got some happy feet, and they dictated.
Avalanche.
And that's what the great teams do it all the time. Is dictate how this game's going to be played and what you're going to do. and they have been absolutely fantastic. They are fearless. The throw to Bateman really, I thought, assessed things that Tampa was like, all right, well, maybe this isn't our night, because you see him break free. He's out of the screen. Lamar's almost out of the screen one way, and as good as the throws he made hitting him on the run in the end zone. And like I said, when they're also really, you felt it going back to that AFC Championship. If they could get the lead, it would change. You get the crowd involved. But when they're ahead, good luck.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they got defensive guys coming from everywhere, and they just plug and play a new DC every year, it feels like, too, and they're awesome.
Humphrey getting hurt significant. Hurt his knee. It's weird. It looked like if it's hurt, and I don't do that internet doctor thing because that's always...
You love those guys and girls.
Not my favorite. Not my favorite. There's a saying, if a doctor hasn't seen a patient, they're a guesser. And there's people that are pretty good at it. I mean, you could see a guy fall down, but you're guessing. That looks like a knee. It's an MCL, probably 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, LCL, too.
Okay. I don't know what happened to Humphrey, but he landed on the knee as opposed to it twisting.
That's what Swag and I were watching, and I'm like, man, it just looks like he landed on it hard. But then, he doesn't come out for the second half, and we never see him again.
No, so that's a question mark, because think about gigantic plays for them this year. That pick against Cincinnati enables them to get that victory. A lot of things went into that one, but he gets that pick in the end zone, and the avalanche happened, and it was 10-0 Tampa Bay, and then it was 27 straight, and then in the end,
Tampa's a good team.
They
made them not look that last night.
They gave Detroit their one loss in their place. They were NFC South leaders. I mean, they could have been the leaders of the division had they got the victory last night, and they didn't. Baltimore's get to Kansas City in a minute, but Baltimore's ceiling looks like it's maybe different than anyone else, but they're in the exact same place as the Dodgers were. And what I mean by that is nothing they do in the regular season is going to matter, because ultimately there's the thing they haven't done yet as constructed. The thing Lamar hasn't done yet, the thing Monken hasn't done in his brief time there.
What about the Yankees? They're not.
They haven't been as close as Baltimore's been lately. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
they've been in the LCS,
right? Baltimore was the best team in the AFC last year. They had home field advantage. They lost. The Yankees did make the playoffs last year. So
okay,
same idea. I know you're not a big Yankee guy.
Tough to root for in the World Series.
Yeah,
tough one.
Yeah. Hey, the Mets had a hell of a run. Tampa loses Chris Godwin at the end of the game, which just sucks. And he's leading the NFL in catches, having an incredible year, doing a remarkable work in the community, and he goes down late. And Bowles was all interrogated at the end of the game by the media. Like, why is he playing? Don't you have to protect him from himself? It's a 10-point game. It would have taken a lot to go right. They had already gotten an onside kick. And then because the way social media is this place everyone gathers and it amplifies stuff, there's this thing on Twitter, someone are quote tweeting this guy saying, you're only allowed to do 2 onside kicks, which is bullshit. It's not true. But even though people know you're not supposed to believe everything you see on it, people smart people that should know better are saying, yeah, see, he should have been and then they're like, oh, actually, that's not right. If you're trailing in the fourth quarter, you can kick onside kicks until the cows come home. And so they're down 10. And their best receiver, who's still active because Evans hurt the hamstring, is playing. And it was a weird game that felt like it was over for about an hour of real time. I'll grant you that. And it was, the eerie thing is that Joe Buck says, hey, you just wonder at what point you just want to live to fight another day here. Because I'm not saying it felt like they were on the edge of coming back to winning, but they're pros that are signed up for 60.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets hurt, and it's awful. But they were acting like Todd Bowles had taken a child and put him in traffic. I just thought it was garbage. they played, and something bad happened, which could have happened in the first quarter.
I have way more of a problem when guys are in when the lead is 20+ in that circumstance. That's especially in the NFL. But I will also add, these rosters are not big. Like, they're already down Mike Evans. You probably got a rookie that's a special teamer, and like your next guy is probably a running back that's your fifth receiver. So you're in a 2-minute circumstance. No one, when they strap it up, think that's going to happen as a player and a coach. I also think the dynamic, just thinking back, where Bowles got kind of ripped for how he treated the end of the playoff game last year in Detroit.
Totally agree.
Totally agree. But I felt the same way. Ryan and I are standing there. I'm like, how many questions does he have to? This is absurd.
Yeah, and it was like hostile. Like they were literally interrogating the man.
Like one of them was, but knowing what those two guys have meant to your team, and you don't think he knows how much they've meant? The guy leads the NFL in catches.
Right, and you make a great point. When players are out there still playing ahead by a lot, it makes way less sense than the team who's down 10, who's already gotten an onside kick, having the gall to continue competing.
And continue to get onside kicks if they wanted to.
Which they were allowed to do by rule. I know it's stunning that the thing that the guy said was wrong.
Put the phones down when we're watching games, people.
Good.
My Lord, this trash that's out there.
So at the end of it, Baltimore leaves having beat a real good road team and just looked excellent in doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar, 5 touchdowns, 23-1 against the NFC. That's bizarre. And the Henry thing was weird. There was a point there where they were in the red zone right before the end of the first half, and he wasn't on the field, and he's okay. And it's like, all right, I mean, are they just going to go with is Justice Hill? Is this a Justice Hill game? He's had a couple of those, maybe. But then it feels like an inevitability that at least once, more often, several times a game, 1st and 10 from the Baltimore 12, Derrick Henry gain of 68 yards. I mean, he gets those massive long runs like no one else, and he ends up with 169 yards. And I apologize. He won the Hemi Award, and we sent him when it was broken, which was actually kind of funny.
Did you mail it?
I was not. I didn't go to. No.
Are you good at mailing things? Because I think it's one of the worst things to have to do.
Way better than you would think I am.
Bet you are. Buttoned up. But the process of getting to the store.
Yeah, because
that's what sucks.
Because if it's a FedEx, I don't know where it is. If it's a UPS, if it's a U.S. Postal, like I got to figure out where I'm going.
And I always feel like I'm behind the worst person in the world when at those stores.
Who wants to?
They want to ship a car in a cardboard box. Like it's on serious. Am I right? Like think about the scenarios and then like you got to go to the post office, and that's like, oh my God, the line you're looking at it. There's a lady with 2 boxes that she can't even hold. She's dropping them. I'm like, honey, you're not even going to get that in the box safe.
Yeah, I got a Corolla out front I need to send to Pittsburgh. Excuse me? Yeah, you guys got any boxes? That's so true.
It's the worst.
And then inevitably, you've waited in the line, and then you get up there, and
I'm the best. I just need a stamp.
But I've filled out the wrong. You don't just have a bulk roll of stamps, right? No, but you get up there and I filled out the wrong thing, and now I got to go back in the line. I don't have a pen, and then I'm supposed to wait behind these 28 people again. No, thank you.
That's a key move. Just when they say that, don't even acknowledge them. Yeah. Just move to the side, and then you're next man up.
Stay there.
Because I waited in that line. It ain't happening again.
These are Stanford Steve's mail hacks.
Bar.
Like that a lot. Kansas City is still undefeated. We, as a group for Countdown, like trying to figure out a different way to say what we keep saying, which is, it's kind of weird. Mahomes has more interceptions than touchdowns. He has the worst statistics through 6 games, and they just played San Francisco and beat them, and they've beaten Baltimore. And Cincinnati, we think they're probably pretty good. They've beaten some good teams. They win every game, and at the end of it, I give I give Nick Wright, I know he's at a rival network, but I give him credit, and he is a relentless Kansas City troll, and he's got all this ammunition. But his point, and he's right, is you're just going to continue to be mad at Kansas City because they don't win the way you want them to win. That's entirely reasonable to say. I think with outside Kansas City people, if there's a frustration, it's like, why aren't you more fun to watch the way you used to be? Well, because Tyreek doesn't play there, and they're not an offensive-based team. Spagnola's defense is just hellacious, and at the end of 60 minutes, 6 times, they have more than the opponent. That's the goal. How they get there makes no difference. So, okay. Got to acknowledge that. You're smiling.
Beat them.
That's right.
That's it. That's all it is. You can't.
That's kind of and the thing that Swag was saying, I was laughing, because everything he says is funny just because of how he says it. I love him.
Oh, God.
As great a person as you think he is to be around, it's better. It's just good for
Watching games is incredible with him.
It's just good for your soul. It really is. And he's like, hey, man.
His new one is, put me in the booth. I could do this.
Oh, he could. But he's just like, look, man, when we get there, I'm just not picking anybody else but 15 because you can't beat them. And see, that's the thing with them is it doesn't matter if Mahomes is mediocre, good version, great version. If the game's there to be won, when's the last time he was there with a chance and it didn't happen? Not often.
Probably the Super Bowl at Tampa.
I mean, we were there for that Philly game where he drops the ball from heaven into Marquez Valdez-Scantling's hands and he just couldn't catch it. I mean, they got the ball first in the playoffs against Cincinnati, didn't score, and then Cincinnati did. But it doesn't happen often, and they haven't lost. And I'm looking at their schedule. I'm like, I don't know, they could do something dumb and somebody could beat them. But they honestly have reached that rare place in sports where I just don't care. I'm not going to critically analyze them because what's there to say?
Well, we have to watch them in our house because everyone roots for them. Because the tour's back on. So, I don't even get FaceTime's answer anymore because Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, they're watching the concert. But anyway, I've found an appreciation. I've said it for weeks, and I'll say it again. Steve Spagnuolo is unbelievable at what he does, and that's why I've gone into these games excited to watch what they do for defense, and they have been phenomenal. And people will just say, Purdy wasn't great. He missed some throws. There's some miscommunication. There's a batted ball. There's this. There's that. It's because of the defense he's going against.
Yes.
They make you play on edge, and it's awesome to watch every week.
Agreed. It's a shame, but it's the reality of football. Debo isn't right. Turns out he has pneumonia and is in the hospital. Brandon Ayuk, his knee, unfortunately, it's one of those season enders. It's ACL, MCL. And Jennings, who had that remarkable game against Los Angeles earlier in the season when guys were out, wasn't available either.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see Pearsall get on the field after what happened.
He looks good. They're going to need everything out of him.
He can play, man.
Yeah. But
that's what they're down to. And that's the reality of the NFL right now. I mean, look at Stafford on Sunday. So Cup's still not back. Nakua's not there. I mean, you got to play with what you've got. And, Tampa's going to have to deal with that now, unfortunately, given what happened to them on Monday. But I wanted to see Purdy with its full complement. And obviously, McCaffrey hasn't played all year. So that's hardly an all-hands-on-deck scenario for San Francisco. But they're in a place now where the NFC West.
They're the 12 seed, Scott.
Look at them.
They're behind Dallas and Arizona.
Got to win games at some point. We can't just think you're good if they're healthy. Well, they're not healthy. And at some point, you have to win games. And they
threw away. Were brutal.
Rams and
because those are division games.
Rams and Cardinals, exactly. But then they go to Seattle and win, and I thought, all right, you're good. And now you buckle up for KC. Well, no one's beating the Chiefs, and you didn't have most of your people. And going forward,
think they're going to the playoffs?
What do we always say? It's way harder for me to give up on a team I think is good than to think a team.
You're not jumping on that hill that you jumped on Buffalo's hill.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm on that hill with Cincinnati.
Sorry, Buffalo last year.
Last year,
nailed it.
I just knew they were good. I feel that way about Cincinnati this year. You have to win games, and I don't know who they have enough people right now. You find yourself in a.
They got Dallas, and then they got to bye.
The good news is that their division is no one's running away and hiding, and the team that leads it currently, they beat at their place in Seattle. Arizona, by the way, got a win last night over a Chargers team that really they losing Allen, losing Williams for Herbert is not shockingly an issue. They didn't score touchdowns last night. 5 field goals, and they get beat at the end. And I just think we talked a bit about it on Countdown. I'm looking at their schedule, and you think, wow, they got a chance here to get to like 7-2. But you have to beat teams that are supposed to be not good teams, and last night they didn't. Some calls late. Harbaugh was mad. I do think it was uncatchable. I think he probably could have called something else there, maybe a hold, maybe something. But when a quarterback and a receiver are not on the same page and it's clear overthrow and there's a miscommunication, I just don't think you're going to get that penalty.
I hate when the referees tell me what they thought was going to happen. It's a fucking double move. It's uncatchable because the guy tackled him. That's why the throw is there.
Counterpoint.
Like this idea where, a guy runs a hitch and the ball goes over and then they don't call the legal contact. It's illegal contact because he couldn't move on the play. You can't have referees assessing pass game rules, and that drives me nuts.
You mean the way that people do analytics on plays where they don't know what the play call was, but they tell you what?
Or people saying guys should be playing after they get hurt. I feel like there's a lot of the same people in those bubbles.
So that was a PI, you're saying? Or
it's
something?
Something.
It was something. That seems fair. It was uncatchable, but Steve's point, which you quickly changed my mind. Yeah, it's something.
You love double moves. You can't have double moves taken away from the sport.
That's right. I mean, not
or flag.
Because if you tackle them,
imagine if Charlie had a double move lined up there and they didn't call that.
Might not have gotten the MVP pin in his first game for the Texans. No big deal.
Are you calling plays yet? You're just a GA.
I'm not anything. I'm just dad. I'm just
oranges
cheering.
At halftime.
No, I'm just trying to learn the names of the youngsters. Make sure I cheer for. There's a little guy named Lorenzo. I'm like, go get him. Like, his name's Lorenzo? It's like my grandpa. That's awesome. Go get him, Lorenzo. Okay. That game, the Chargers are the Chargers are one of those teams that they're on my list. I'm like, I don't know what they are.
Here's the deal. I said it before the season. People want to know season win totals. What are the Chargers going to do? They're going to be an absolute pain in the ass to play. Okay? Yep. They're going to dictate how the game is played. That's what Harbaugh does. Minter's an awesome defensive mind. You saw him at Michigan, what he did. As Harbaugh also. It's amazing how those two guys just go through defensive coordinators that are awesome. But he's so stubborn in his play call that it's going to get in the way sometimes. But last night, against the Chiefs, we just talked about, spent all this time. They dictated that whole game against the Chiefs. They go up 10-0. They still can't hold on. But there's not enough pizzazz there where they're going to be able to make plays at the end of games. He's going to stay in his ways. But you got to be buttoned up for 60. Good luck to you if they're on their schedule because, like I said, they're going to line up. They're going to run the ball. They're going to make you stop the run. And that's what teams, I feel like, week in and week out aren't ready for in this league. But are they a playoff team? I have no idea. But if they're on their schedule, buckle up for 60. And Disley looked pretty good last night.
They did throw it to him a bunch. Lab McConkey, I said, of all the receivers, I said McConkey was going to be I think I said something about most impactful rookie. I don't know. I'm wrong because Neighbors has already proven that Thomas had a nice week for Jacksonville. But he needs to be a complimentary receiver, in my opinion, McConkey, and they don't have that. Allen's gone. Williams is gone. You look at teams that went out at the deadline. Jets went and got a receiver. Buffalo went and got a receiver. I don't know. If I'm the Chargers, I'm trying to give Herbert somebody that can help, be a difference maker in the pass game.
I just think back to see, like, if Harbaugh had a quarterback for when Nico Collins was there, you don't think he would have got more targets?
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
There's thought process.
Good teams, question mark. What's Pittsburgh?
Good.
Yeah. 5-2, win that game against the Jets.
Pain in the ass to play. Pain in the ass. How about what they were doing at field goals? Like, you don't think Mike T lined up, hey, we got an extra 15 today on specials. They can't do it up front on field goals. They were destroying guys on field goals and PATs. It's awesome. You saw them get the flag on the Minka. He was irate. His special teams coach that had 100 pieces of gum in his mouth was losing his mind. And what do? They come back and block a field goal a different way.
That's my guy, Danny Smith. There's always a coach on that you can tell everyone loves. And, and you could see the love for Danny Smith.
I was worried they were going to knock him over.
Nah, you could see him being like, hey,
the gum started to tip him one way, though.
Nah, he has 19 pieces of double bubble in his mouth, or bazooka, or whatever. Could be bubble yum. Remember any old guys out there? Remember bubble yum?
Yeah, great bubbles.
When that came out in elementary school, it was like a drug scourge. Is that the right word? It was. Because there was this one dude at our school. Did you have the kid at your school that had the bag of candy that would sell it? And it was like drug transactions. You go to the bathroom and you'd be like, you could get 3 pieces of bubble gum for like $0.25. But the problem was is you'd eat them all immediately, like a junkie.
I remember going through a phase in high school where I was just like, you could chew gum in school.
What kind of rogue school were you?
Valley, you flew over it last night.
Yeah, shout out to the Valley.
How about the foliage in the Valley? Just
out by Derby.
Saw the end zones.
I did. That's high level to field Derby's got.
Put up a 50 burger at Ryan Field. No big deal. 50-6.
So go ahead. You're allowed to.
All right, so I was a gum connoisseur, and like it was baseball season. I was like, all right, juicy fruit, great. It lasts 30 seconds to taste. Double bubble, great. 45 seconds maybe. And double bubbles, thick. Can't put a lot in there, and when it's done, it's like a piece of putty in your mouth. You just can't do it. What else do we have out there? Big League Chew, flavor out the yin-yang. Maybe we save some of the flavor so it lasts longer. Bubble Yum came out, very good. Got kind of thin, though, at the end. And then I just wanted gum that would last. Okay. And that's when we got Cinnaburst came out, and Cinnaburst was tremendous. The problem was I think I violated all my taste buds on my tongue because of how much Cinnaburst I had.
I had no idea that we were going to get to this place with this guy. Thickness.
Make a gum that lasts. I guarantee you.
I think the point is that you don't want it to last.
Trident's up there.
Fruit Stripe gum is the all-time. It's the best excitement gum, followed by the biggest disappointment gum. It's the biggest.
Oh, yeah. No, leave the plastic on it. You could chew it into it. That cannot be good for you.
No, and then you'd roll 2 together to create other flavor combinations. So I was way ahead of the game with all these. Take one thing, mush it up with another, and make it that. We were doing that back in the 70s. We had to do that shit on our own.
You could have made the Kelsey cereal combination. Think about how much money that's bringing in.
Those dudes
would have had that shit in the 80s.
If he makes it to Thanksgiving with us, I think he's going to start doing like a bottom line analysis and be like, wait, this is this much? I'm a cereal magnate. I'm a podcast zillionaire. Why am I doing this cable TV show with these guys? I hope he sticks around.
Juicy fruit. Ugh.
They're rolling. Yeah, that's not great. Anyway.
What was the one with the twins? Double Mint? Remember Double Mint?
That's for old people.
I know, but like that was the thing. It was like, hey, you see gum commercials, I'll try it.
Like now you're going to ask me about the little stick of Trident.
Trident's
not terrible. That flavor lasts.
Tridents can go. I'll put them up there in the power rankings.
I didn't have Danny Smith, special teams coach for Pittsburgh, leading to the off-ramp on gum discussion.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Here we are. I asked, is Pittsburgh good? The thing that was interesting to me about that night is if you go back and look at Russell, and he had a touchdown from the one, and the question was being asked, and it was very complimentary to Russell about what did he show and kind of resilience and toughness, and did he show on that? And Mike Tomlin listened very patiently and said, it was just a sneak. Like, just a sneak from the one is what that was. He threw a couple of classic Russell Wilson kind of high arcing deep balls to George Pickens that are like 50-50 balls. And every 50-50 ball, some of which bounced around, all ended up working for Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers throws a ball to Wilson down the sideline that looked absolutely perfect. It bounces off the 5, and Beanie got his second pick of the game. And it's like the juxtaposition of throws that worked for Wilson versus a couple of throws for Rodgers that didn't. The game completely shifts from 15-6 Jets. Looks like they're going to get a good, calm-down road win. And in the end, they get rocked. Pittsburgh's 5-2, and the Jets are 2-5. And so you say Pittsburgh is good. I agree. I'm not saying everything Wilson did was some lucky throw that worked. I just think some did. But he got confident as he went on and kind of makes the Mike T move look like the right move, I guess.
He said that's why I'm well compensated.
He said he was a Lone Ranger move. You're the Lone Ranger, brother. You got the badge. You are the sheriff. But the Jets are 2-5, and there's no Salah move this week that changes the conversation. There's no Devontae Adams move that changes the conversation.
Oh, yeah?
What is it?
Son Reddick's back.
So that's what we're going to talk about?
No, because I'm done talking about this team. Win a game, and we'll talk about you. How about that?
New York football continues. They were 4-3 last year with horrendous quarterback play. But New York football, we'll go on with our friend Michael Kay on Mondays on their show. I didn't this week.
Yeah, why?
Because the Giants are in Pooptown, and maybe the Jets are too. It's amazing that you can have two pretty talked about teams that
are talked about. Oh.
Hey, look, we talk about Dallas every year too, and you know, they give up 50 every home game. But they're on the list of people that we talk about, and I don't know why we talk about them.
So let's stop.
Okay. Let's talk about a New York team that is good. The Buffalo Bills.
They
got Cooper, and when I heard he was going to play, I was curious, is he just playing to play, or is he playing in the game? Meaning, are they running stuff for him?
Yep.
They much like Baltimore, in the sense that they spotted Tennessee 10. It's 10-0. They're trailing. Very slow to get going. They hadn't done anything. But then they got it cooking. And Cooper gets a touchdown. And I think he'll be exactly what they want him to be. And it'll help free up the rookie, Coleman.
He did, right? 4 for 123.
He had the highest receiving yards for of anybody this week in the NFL.
Wow.
125.
Love him.
That'll help. And I just that's the obvious thing to our group. And Swag said it early. Is like, look, there's a reason these dudes wear ones, and whatever the dynamic got to with Diggs, where it's probably better for everybody that he goes, doesn't make you better to not have a guy like that. And so getting someone like Cooper, I think it was 4 for 66, I want to say.
And a Toad.
Yep, that was big. They're good.
Third best team in the AFC?
Who?
Buffalo?
In the AFC?
Yeah.
Kansas City and Baltimore don't live there?
No, I'm saying, but is Buffalo the third best team?
Oh, third best.
Bronze medal?
I don't know. Pittsburgh would like a word, I guess.
Houston beat them.
Houston's 5-2. Houston's 2 losses both came on the road against NFC North teams, and in both games, Stroud was under a ton of pressure. He threw for 86 yards.
Pressured on 13 of 14 dropbacks?
I believe it was sacked 5 times by Minnesota, sacked 4 times by Green Bay. And if you saw that, it wasn't just the sacks. It's like sacks is one thing, but being under duress is another.
And their defense created a ton of shit early on. Love had 2 turnovers early.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what'd you think of the Packers all whites?
So funny. We truly are becoming the old couple, because that was my thought in my head. We do a lot of jersey talk here. I don't like it.
Better than some of the games.
It's so true. I don't like it because when you have a truly iconic uniform and the G is iconic, I just don't think you need to mess with it.
Yeah, they shouldn't wear them at home.
Just when you've got that kit, I love to call it a kit.
I've noticed.
Well, that's what they call the soccer uniforms.
Correct.
It's a proper kit, isn't it? I like the Green Bay uni. There's no need to wear something different. But we're in a. I get it. People want to sell uniforms.
Is what the bagpipers wear? That's a kilt.
That's a kilt.
So is that a kit with a kilt?
Like, yeah, that I like that.
You should do that for Halloween.
I just gonna say we got to get you. We get you. I want you to learn how to play the bagpipe.
There's no freaking chance.
Imagine the
bagpipe guitar.
Imagine the big man.
Sound like Sanko's kids concert.
Shout out to the RM band. They got better over time.
Sorry, Michelle.
I'm trying to think of who else in the AFC is good. Houston's good. They just lost.
Yeah.
The Colts are 4-3. I don't want to talk about them. I watched that game. It's like,
suicide watch. I missed this week, but good God, that team brings it every week from just a what are we doing standpoint.
Yeah, they won. They won.
They did. They're 4-3.
They sure are. And I looked at that this morning, and I thought I don't know how. I don't know how. Part of it was Flacco. Richardson. It's a very different. It's a different game with him at quarterback. He presents a very different threat, clearly, than Flacco. But Flacco presents a different threat than Richardson. So it's just which way do you want to go? Nice to have that luxury though of having a guy like that can come off the bench and win you games. Are the Eagles good?
Yeah.
I think they might be too. The last two games, Hurts has protected the ball.
But they benefit from a lot of bad.
Well, that's the league. That's why so many teams.
That's why you have to say like they're.
I guess, but look, if you go to New York and you're playing the Giants, and
you knew that was going to happen.
I mean, Saquon going for $176 was about as predictable as anything.
I just want to know why I didn't hear Sirianni mic'd up before he went to ask Saquon if he wanted to go in. See any first quarter mic'd up?
They haven't scored a point in the first quarter.
That would even out the story, you know?
Yeah, $176. Giants had 116 yards of offense.
There we go.
I started Daniel Jones in a fantasy game. I won. I don't know how.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of the more miraculous outcomes I've seen. We'll get to Pooptown in a minute. Best team in the NFC, Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I think you got to say that. This is a big. I mean, New Orleans injuries, Tampa's injuries. Like, there's a lot that happened this week. That's gonna. That teams are gonna.
San Francisco's injuries.
Teams are gonna go different. Like Rams supposed to get Cooper back
Thursday night against Minnesota. Yeah.
I was sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. That game was excellent. We talk about the bad. There's a week in and week out, I'm just stunned by it. But Detroit, Minnesota is good on good. It's 10-0 Vikings, 21 straight for the Lions. Vikings come back, get a tremendous play. It's Martellus knocked it out. We say it every week. The ability of guys to that it's a weapon on defense. It's not tackling the ball; it's punching the football, and it's one of those things that when games evolve, when you watch the NBA and you see guys shoot threes and they're so good at it, you think why in the old days they just didn't shoot threes? They thought you had to throw it at the paint. Well, now when you watch guys play football and you watch weekly game-changing plays happen, why did that not happen before? People could have done it. Well, now they're great at it. Anyway, Minnesota takes the lead. Down the field goes Goff and the Lions. He's going to be on SportsCenter later this week. And they win that game. They're 5-1, so is Minnesota. Goff, the last 3 weeks, is 58 for 68 with 7 touchdowns, no picks. The last 4 weeks, they have more touchdowns on offense than he has incompletions. They, in a league where a lot of offense is kind of, can you score touchdowns? They score touchdowns from all over the field. That Campbell connection to that team, you see it in those. And I talk about this with college football and the social media. Your social media team can make anything look great. I think with Campbell and the Detroit social media team, you just turn on your phone and hit record and everything. You get what is real. It's a good one.
Couple things. I've said for weeks they're the best watch in the NFL. Even with Hutchinson out, he was a main part of that, but I still believe they are the best watch in the NFL. Give me as much of the Lions as you can. I think about them and the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA. As great a watch as there is in the league, give me as much as, and we just can't get it. It feels like we talk about the bad teams more, and they suffer, but they probably prefer that not getting as much shine. But when you look at what they do, I think they're the best watch from a tactical standpoint. What they do, they get everybody involved, but the people they have, there's a genuineness to it. There's Dan Campbell being the former, tight end, drinking his coffees, double boost, whatever it is at Starbucks people get. You got Goff, who was humbled at the Rams. They send him off. Amon-Ra keeping track of the receivers. Gibbs and Montgomery with their new nickname that I can't remember right now. Like, there's just an awesomeness to that team that I just want more. And it's really, really cool to see. I didn't know what to expect in that game. And the swings in that game, I thought it showed more about the validity of the Vikings and what Sam Darnold did. And I just loved what O'Connell did play calling. They continued to take shots down the field where, maybe as a younger, timid Sam Darnold would be afraid to do. He stood in there and took it and threw it. And I'm
Sonic and Knuckles, by the way.
There you go.
I left that game impressed by both teams.
Good.
Because they're both good teams.
Vision, man.
It really is nasty. Look at it. It's wild. Green Bay, again, gets a win over a very good team.
Can you give me a Boomer NFC Norris?
The NFC Norris division. The frozen tundra. Scotty, look.
I was waiting for you to come on Sunday, and I just fired the app up. I'm like, yes, primetime is on. And I caught 15 minutes of primetime, and he had Booger laughing like 5 or 6 different times. It was so good. I want Boomer on the pod before the NFL season's over. We got to just shoot the shit with him.
I'm pretty sure Boom would be happy to join.
God, I can't wait.
All right, we'll get him.
All right. Get his assessment of things.
I'd love it because he's as ball knower. He's been in the mix for years. One of the all-time legends in this business. And back in the day, youngsters, when it got to 7 bells,
forget it.
NFL countdown. Him and TJ let it rip.
Oh, man.
The best highlight reader there's ever been.
Wouldn't read a highlight until he saw the shot sheet prior.
Not doing it blind.
Imagine if you did that. We would be there till 3 a.m.
We just don't have the time.
I know.
Like, it's just not
it's
how.
It's just a different way.
Yeah, it's a different.
Like, just.
But him
man.
and TJ together, it's actually cool. The studio that we do Countdown out of in Connecticut is named for Boomer and TJ. And there's a plaque outside of it about just their invaluable contributions and how they'll always be a part of the ESPN family. And there's more, but that's the gist. And I literally look at it every single time. Every time that I walk in there, it's a little bit like when you walk out on a field and there's like a sign you tap, or at Maryland there's a turtle you rub the nose for good luck, whatever. Howard's Rock, you get the gist. I walk in there and I don't care if it sounds corny to you because I know it's sincere to me. That guy built the joint. And him and TJ are as great a combo as there's ever been. And so it's cool. Like, you're on a show that he invented. Scotty, I invented it. He didn't say that, but he might have. But in the time when there was no Twitter and there was no red zone.
You watched one game at 1 and one game at 4.
And you might just get a shitty game. But then at 7, bang, put on countdown, da, 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 and Boomer's screaming for an hour straight. Oh, nothing better.
Phenomenal.
Nothing better. There's nothing worse than Pooptown.
There we go. How many?
Well, I'm going to need your help. Get the production ready. Week 7.
Yep.
NFL Pooptown. The New York Giants.
At home?
Anywhere.
Pooptown.
I'm scarred for life by watching what the Eagles sacked Daniel Jones conservatively 19 times.
They still have one touchdown at home.
Uno.
This year.
Got one right before halftime. They called an OPI. I thought was a garbage call.
You have little toddlers that have been to more games than they have touchdowns.
That's a true story. I mean, all right, Giants at home.
Okay, I could go with that.
Definitely.
And we get them on the road this Monday
That's
night,
right.
baby.
Can't wait to see you in Pittsburgh. Daniel Jones, by the way, still Dable's quarterback. They wanted to put Locke in for a spark. He did not
provide the spark.
I got news for you. Lamar Jackson wasn't going to give you a spark the other day. That firewood was wet. There was no spark coming.
Bill Sims would have.
Back on the Meadowlands with garbage blowing all over the field, garbage tornadoes. Lot in the AFC.
All right.
I'll stay in the NFC for Pooptown. The Carolina Panthers.
Pooptown.
Dalton, apparently, Canales said that he's their quarterback.
How tight are Canales' T-shirts?
He's very fit.
I get you're ripped, man.
He's fit.
But, breathe a little.
Oh, dude.
Could be affecting the play calling.
Nah, when you're fit, you want to make sure your fits are fit. He's got a good kit.
I'll never know.
You or me both. I get when you put Dalton in, you got to win. It made people happy. But, it's at some point, I don't know. How about Steph Curry at the end of our interview saying, "Go Panthers"? God bless him. Hey, and if you're, keep pounding, right?
His laugh was better than yours.
He was sincere. He said he just wanted to see what I was going to say. I just didn't want to be mean. I just said good luck with that. NFC Pooptown, I think that's it. Dallas at home. They had a bye week, so I think we're going to let them.
It would be the most Dallas thing in the world to go to San Francisco and win this week. I'll just say that.
Who's San Francisco going to have?
Plus off a bye? Money line?
The AFC, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go.
The Raiders.
Play it.
Pooptown.
The Tennessee Titans.
Play it.
Pooptown.
Up 10-0 on the road. Gave up 34 straight. The Cleveland Browns.
Play it.
Pooptown.
The New England Patriots.
Play it.
Pooptown.
The New Orleans Saints as currently constructed.
Pooptown.
Did you watch the game against Denver?
No.
I did. Pooptown. That's after they played the game against Tampa Bay where they gave up 51. So they're at least exploring lease options.
Both at home.
Giants at home, Titans, Browns, Panthers, Raiders, Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins with a question mark next to it. With Tua coming back, no more. No, they're leaving. They're getting the milk crates together.
Are you surprised he's playing?
No, I'm not. Are
you surprised he's not going to wear a Guardian cap?
He said that's a personal choice. You know what? I listened intently to what he said, and it was very not surprising. It was very thoughtful, and it was very. This is his life. And he's appreciative of your concern for him, but you could spare him your concern. He's worried. He's going to worry about him. Mm-hmm. And Ryan mentioned on Countdown that he talked to people in Miami and that all these different independent neurologists, and there wasn't one dissenting voice saying that there's any reason not that he couldn't continue to do this. And to his point was, people don't worry about hockey players or boxers like this, and it's a very public thing. When Godwin gets hurt, it's because Roquan lands and his ankle gets dislocated, and it's gruesome. You don't want to watch it. And someone made a good point. But Tua gets concussed, and I don't think we show there's that fencing response it's called, where you see the hands kind of seize up. And I think that hit against Buffalo, the hit's been shown, but we didn't show him convulsing on the field. It's a jarring thing to witness. It's really, really frightening to see. But ultimately, for him, his family, and that's where it is. That's the end of it. It's not Mike McDaniel, he'd be the first to say that. It's not the Dolphins. It's not the organization. It's him and his family. And if he says, I want to do this, then that's what he's going to do. And I respect the man's opinion to make he has agency over his own life first and last. Mm-hmm. So I'm not at all surprised. Not at all surprised. Now, the thing that becomes frightening is not the right word. It's just you're on eggshells when you watch the guy play, because he's learned to protect himself. But in a game where he was horrible against Buffalo, down 21-3, I want to say it was. It's a 4th down, and he takes off and goes. Well, in that moment, there's only so much you can do, because it is, by definition, a violent game. And so the chance that this could happen again is certainly a lot more than zero. It could happen. It could happen this Sunday against Arizona if he comes back. And that's what people that are going to watch are going to have to just sign up for. But you deal with that with anybody. It's just with him, it's happened, and the concern of it happening again is going to be there for as long as he plays.
Yeah, I just think about being on defense playing against him.
Interesting. You got a job to do just like he does. You got a job to do. But if he comes, I can't think of just how much different they'll look, because of what everything is predicated on what he does. An absolute maestro, and without him, they looked like they looked. I think I took Jacksonville out of Pooptown just because they beat New England. I don't know if you can beat another Pooptown team and get to leave New England.
I would say 2 Pooptown wins get you out of Pooptown. But does Jacksonville have – who'd they beat? New England?
They beat New England in London most recently. And
they beat the Colts, right?
At home.
Colts are not.
Did they beat Flacco? Is that what they did? It was a rainy home game, and I want to say
blew a lead.
I want to say they beat Flacco. So I guess I'm going to let him leave. You want to know why I want to let him leave? Just because I want there to be more teams that I think aren't terrible. But I watched that Jacksonville game, and I just don't know that I can say that. Yeah, they beat Indy at home. Hey, they've won 2 out of 3. They play Green Bay, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Detroit, their next 4. I have a pretty good idea that what we'll do is we're going to leave.
I was going to say leave them in there.
We're going to leave.
Make them earn it.
We're going to leave your sleeping bag in the corner over of your spot just to keep it there for you in case you come back after this month against all NFC teams that are all pretty good.
This might be too personal.
All right.
But if you were going to pick an NFL city to be the capital of Pooptown,
not doing it.
Would it be Jacksonville?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
People could read into
that. Listen.
Next question.
I don't want it.
I got you.
I don't want to do it. You get cities mad at you. I got Cleveland. I got Cleveland fans mad at me because I made a point about booing Deshaun Watson. I said, you can hate the guy.
Not a good look.
Just can't. And then it turned.
And they're awesome.
Who, Browns fans?
Yeah,
I know. And see, that's the thing.
Now I can't say it.
Well, Browns fans are, but I think they. But see, listen. In the same way that I made a comment on Twitter, I'm like, look, they, meaning Browns fans, cheered Deshaun Watson until he was bad at football, and then they cheered him getting hurt. And then people get mad, like, no, we didn't. We didn't ever like him. And I'm like, well, listen. He came with the really ugly issues that surround him, and that was not a secret. And you could really dislike that and cheer for the Browns. That's the point a lot of Browns fans made that resonated with me. They cheered for the team. They didn't feel great about the guy. Okay. But I just think you can really dislike a person, but cheering an injury just feels like it's just. I think it's small because I think that's a great fan base, and I think Cleveland fans I started to say Indians, Guardians, and Browns fans deserve something great to happen as much as anyone. Maybe Cleveland Browns fans more than anyone. You lost a team.
Yeah,
they left. And then you get this team, and you've just never gotten that moment. So I think it's a tremendous fan base that deserves something great, and I hope it happens. Part of the reason I was so offended and yelling about them a week ago. Part of it was Amari Cooper. So, hey, yay for my fantasy team, Tutty and Buffalo. But a bigger part of it, it's just Cleveland. You shouldn't be asked to suffer through that. Joe Flacco got you to the playoffs last year. Stefanski's the coach of the year. And then you had to suffer through this, and the guy was horrendous. Awful. And then he gets hurt, and I think cheering it's bullshit. But I think the good news from your perspective is it's over. Like, that's done. That's done. Wow, just an all-time catastrophe of a decision from an organization.
Yeah.
But now I don't know what they do. I mean, so I guess we find out if Jameis or DTR can do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, now I don't know. They were bad to begin with. But it's very, very crowded with bad football, as we've said.
Yeah.
I was asking you on the flight last night about Pittsburgh. I've never seen a game there. I've seen a game at PNC, if that's what they still call it, where the Pirates play. Incredible stadium. We've covered the whole Primanti brothers. Ooh, I wonder if I want to go back to Primanti brothers and just order. I'd like a sandwich, please. Hold the slaw. See how that goes. No, it comes on the sandwich. But if you don't put it on the sandwich, then it's not on. And I'm asking you not to. We've covered this. I've never seen a game there. You've seen a game there.
Multiple. Big games.
Okay, and it is?
Awesome. And I'm not even close to a Steelers fan. Not even close. But, man, is it good. We all know how the Packers fans are owners of the team. They take it personally, the Steelers. Now I wish the surface was a little better. You're a mega franchise, but that's besides the point.
Well, I mean, you got a college team that plays there. I think they play like
high school games.
Yeah. I never get it right.
Allegheny, North Allegheny,
Tauntaun, WIPAA or WPAA. I always forget what it's called, but it's something
Big
like
time.
that.
Big time.
Yeah, it's huge. It's not the field is always got a little. It's kind of beige.
Yeah, I'm not great with 80s rock bands.
Okay.
But
Sticks.
You're going to hear them all.
Sticks.
They let it rip during games.
What's your favorite Sticks song, Steve?
Oh, I don't know, but Boomer
Come Sail
showed
Away.
Foreigner playing at halftime of one of the games on Sunday and just started ripping off songs. Like, it was tremendous. Sticks.
They play Renegade.
That's STYX. Oh, they play Renegade?
That's Sticks.
Okay. That one.
Okay.
No, it's great.
I just think
fully invested.
But I think
fans.
I think the perspective as a guy who, as we know, on a weekly basis is in Eugene and in Austin and these college venues where the energy is different, and frankly, a lot of these college stadiums are bigger than pro stadiums.
That's what I was going to say. I think it brings more to the table than Arrowhead because it's bigger.
So my perspective for you is just the fact that you, as the guy that sees these incredible college environments, is as wowed by it. Makes me really excited to see it. We went years ago took SportsCenter to the Steelers training camp, which is in Latrobe. Say it right.
Arnie.
I knew Mr. Palmer. Well,
I'm going to guess no one used the Latrobe private airport more than Arnie.
He flew his own plane. God, what a legend. Absolute legend. And we visited camp there in Latrobe. I just think it's so evident what that team means to that city. And you felt it in that camp, which is in this tiny little town, and I'm looking forward to experiencing it in that awesome downtown Pittsburgh is such a cool scene. You come out of that tunnel and there it is. It feels like a movie set or something.
Awesome.
And so
I'm still very confused by the bridges.
Well, I mean, here's the good news.
There's a one where you're going into the mountain and you're like, where the hell? It's like the Back to the Future scene with Biff. It's like, what's on the other side? And there's a city, but then you forget which side you're going in and out of. And then you just got different parts of it. No, it's It's really, really good. You're gonna love it.
I'm looking forward to seeing the game there. And we get the Giants on the road, which means maybe we'll get the Giant team that went to Seattle and won, as opposed to the team that, at home is on the struggle bus. I don't know if I have anything else.
World Series.
Wait. I
got?
do have one thing else. Washington leads the NFL in point differential.
Oh, how could we forget?
Well, I just want to mention it just because here's what I'd say about them. We've said there's a lot of bad teams, but then there's end up being a lot of sort of bad games where it's these coin flips late. And I mean, the Colts win this week. I'm just, they won. And in the end, you're like, okay. And sure, you should feel great if you're the Colts because you win. It's better than losing. But if you're good, you're supposed to beat teams that aren't good by just beat them.
Yeah.
Washington has the biggest point differential in the NFL. They went to Arizona and stomped the Cardinals. They had Cleveland came in. They stomped the Browns. Chicago comes in, this week. Last week was Carolina. So you're playing a lot of these teams. We can joke about Pooptown. These are bad football teams.
That's another point for Giants on the road. They did not get manhandled by the Commanders.
There you go. One touchdown at home, 116 yards. My God, they were terrible on Sunday. Washington has Carolina come in. They get a pick six on the first drive. Jaden Daniels, the first chance he gets with the ball, takes off running, hurts his rib. Week to week. That's the new designation, what does that even mean? Week to week. I don't know.
Idea.
Mariota comes in. Marcus Mariota, who also, by the way, was a number 2 overall pick.
And Heisman Trophy winner.
Same deal, but one of those quarterbacks that it just hadn't worked for. But came in, they wanted a veteran. They wanted a great locker room guy. Marcus is all of those things. Mm-hmm. He came in, and admittedly, you're not playing a great team. But with the backup in, you could expect maybe it slips a little bit. No, he played really, really well. Threw a couple touchdown passes. Maybe he'll have to play again this week against Caleb Williams in Chicago, who come off their bye. I don't know because Daniels is week to week. But it's impressive that this Washington team against bad teams, which they were just a year ago, is out here trucking people and has the best point differential in the NFL. Now, what's their best win? I'd say it's Cincinnati on the road on Monday night. But do they have other wins where you go, ooh, there's a really good win? Any win's a good win in the NFL, and they've got 5 of them. They lead the NFC East. I looked at their schedule. There's not a single game on there that I don't know if they can win that game. Not a single one. Because the Giants, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, I don't think they're better than Washington. Washington will be favored at home, probably, in some of them. But then outside of that, they play the Titans, they play the Saints. My point is Washington as a playoff team right now feels more likely than not to me.
Plus 135 last week to win a division. I got it.
Did you?
Yeah. That division's garbage.
I think the Eagles.
The Eagle games will be awesome.
I think the Eagle games will tell the tale. And then Dallas is Dallas. I mean, it's just around here, that was the game that was always, it's hard to even describe. But it is. And I mean, if you're a fan of anywhere of a team and you can think of a rival, but Washington Dallas at its peak was.
Did you yell bad things at Aikman when he played her?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't hate him like I hated Danny White though. That guy.
Those 90s Cowboys teams.
I mean, Staubach haunts my existence.
A Navy guy.
I get it.
For the troops. Here's my question about the Commanders.
Don't bring up the troops. That guy was throwing the ball to Drew Pearson, and my grandpa had a heart attack. And actually, he got hurt that game. That was Clint Longley. He tried to kill my grandpa.
Oh.
So, got kind of personal there. Anyway.
Does Marcus Mariota's performance hurt Jaden Daniels' MVP race?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I thought
it
doesn't hurt it nearly as much as Lamar Jackson throwing 5 touchdowns on Monday Night Football.
But who's more valuable to the Ravens, Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson.
Thank you. Who we haven't mentioned, who deserves a ton of credit, two people. Dan Quinn, the head coach, for getting the ultimate buy-in on this team. You see him. I watch all the local stuff. It's really cool to see the change in perception. We had fans show up at the game, but also our guy Cliff. I mean, my man is dealing.
Agreed.
Still throwing the ball up $1 billion. Kevin Sheehan tweets like, Cliff, we're not in the Big 12 anymore. We don't need 50 burgers to win. My man Ertz would have that throw and catch from Mariota to Ertz. I was like, man, that was like 10 years ago when those guys were on top of the world, and they connect for that touch. Like, it's awesome. I bought in. Go Commanders.
Okay. They got Chicago coming in, which is cool.
Ooh, the native son coming in.
That's a cool story. Very local. He played at a school called Gonzaga. The WCAC is a high level school and high level athletics. Just ton of D1 football and basketball players out of this area. And he played at a school called Gonzaga. And I mean, everybody around here knew from the time he threw a touchdown pass to win the city championship game against DeMatha as a sophomore, like, oh, that guy's, well, he's going to be a guy. And damn if he hasn't been. And so he comes in with Chicago playing well. Don't know if it's Jaden or Marcus, but it feels very different in Washington. Feels very different. If for no other reason than, again, playing against teams that are not great teams that are in our made-up Pooptown, and they're beating them 40-7.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen a lot in the NFL. They're doing it.
Brace the journey.
There you go.
What you got? Yankees, Dodgers.
I think the Dodgers win the World Series.
All right.
You think it's the Yankees?
I do.
What's the series price?
I got Yanks plus 115. I think it's plus 105 now.
Yankees as a dog is
I'm not sure on the bootleg side, so
it's pretty enticing.
Like, knowing, I hate to say this, knowing how good, I hate saying this, man. I hate
Say it. Just say it.
Knowing how good Yankee World Series games are at Yankee Stadium. The idea that they get to go out to L.A., weather the storm, and they know what they got coming at home. Like,
come on.
You talk about mutants. Like, oh, my. Billy's and Stan's, those places before the game. It's like the majority of people you see in a Judge, what do they call them? Jerseys. Everybody's wearing them. They got different names on the back. They're all double-fisted. All of them. And you're just walking around like there's still a game to be played.
It's funny. We talk often about the tremendous scenes with these college places like Baton Rouge, Madison. There's some places where people get after it. But a New York City Yankee game there's a different sort of feel because there's that underriding menace of the city, Gotham, Yankees. The hostility that feels like it's kind of in them to cheer for their guys and just F you times a billion. This takes me back. If you got to be old to remember it, but Yankees, Dodgers back in the day, I mean, you're talking all-time legendary stuff. Reggie and all the whole nine.
I the most raged I was ever at a game was the Clemens throwing the bat at Piazza. I'm like 20 rows behind the dugout, and I'm just screaming, what the fuck is that? What is that?
He thought it was the ball, which to this day makes the least sense of anything I've ever seen said in sports. Oh, we're playing.
He grabbed it and looked at it.
And threw it. I thought it was the ball. It's a kickball.
First base is over there.
So you threw the ball at him? What are you trying to say? What are you saying?
Oh, and that's like the first. Oh, God.
You don't love him.
Oh.
Steve hates a lot.
Oh.
There's nothing he hates more than the New York Yankees. True or false?
This, like when it's been 15 years since they were in the World Series.
But you're going to hate watch it, and you bet them because that's what you do.
That's what I do. And I will admit this. I said at the beginning of the college football season, I was happy for the start of the season for Cal. I would be so happy for Aaron Boone.
So would I, because we know him, and he's dealt with a ton of the angst from Yankee fans.
After the Dodgers beat the Mets the other night, I might have texted Boney and just asked, will you check his bat? And I will let you know that that was what, Sunday night at midnight? It is now Tuesday at 12:44, and I have not gotten a response.
Nudge him again. Steve would like his bat check.
We got 3 days to go.
Check his bat.
But like he's so LA. He's an SC guy, and for him to go out with these first two in LA, like I said, knowing what's coming back, it's really, really hard to choose a side in this. But you're right. I will watch the hell out of this series. And it's going to be playoff baseball. We go back and forth all the time. Playoff baseball, playoff hockey.
Mm-hmm.
These moments in this series are going to be hard to top.
I mean, those Indian, I keep saying Indians, Guardians. No, but
they know who we.
I called the Nets the Brooklyn Nets for quite a while. The New Jersey Nets. I called them New Jersey Nets.
I still say Chargers, wrong name.
The Guardians, Yankees back and forth was that Noel home run, and then the walk-off.
Fry, yeah.
The Fry walk-off. But the Noel homer.
Did you hear the Deportes broadcast?
I did.
Where they were screaming,
singing Feliz Navidad. Just incredible. They call him Big Christmas, Noel. You get it.
It's look it up.
It's amazing.
Look it up. It's so good.
I think one thing that Roberts and the Dodgers probably, as a group, when they are having their meetings, I think they probably say, do we throw strikes to Stanton? Let's not do that. That man it's a 2-0 lead. Guardians it feels like, they're gonna do the same thing the Mets do. They're gonna force another one. Then you spin one to that man, and he is obliterating baseballs right now.
Not swinging and missing, that's for sure.
No.
Wow.
Square in the barrel. And then Soto has, it's like the cliche, the joke about he earned his pinstripes. He became a Yankee. I mean, that dude's going to get paid. He's going to get his, and he should.
I think he's going to win Series MVP.
Take a little taste of that as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he's done it.
He's fucking Tommy Edman, 11 RBIs in the NLCS. And I'm a guy, I love utility guys. In the Dodgers, like Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez has been awesome. And then Edman, I'm like, this fucking guy's a switch hitter too. Boom, balls off. I don't think he batted righty all series.
Yeah, I did a bad job the other night because I made the point about Ohtani and Judge. That's easy. I said, but Stanton and Soto, they deserve equal billing. Like maybe mention Edman, Van Pelt, because that more often than not. And I go back to the very last time, it's been 100 years, when the Orioles won a World Series, their catcher, Rick Dempsey, the Dipper, was the MVP. It's
many times
in a small sample size. It's that guy is way down your list, isn't going to get picked in any DFS roster. Those are the people that, for whatever reason, through the years, tend to be difference makers. No one had. If you were going to say Edman would be the difference in that series, and he was.
Totally. And we haven't even mentioned Mookie Betts. Like that guy.
He's pretty good.
Every time. Contact. The one thing I will say, sorry to ramble on this.
No, you're fired up about the World Series.
It's an awesome World Series. It's been so long since the Mets were in a 7-game series.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what a 7-game series feels like in baseball. Does that make sense? Yeah, like everything was so like the win to get in against the Braves. You go down there for that doubleheader. Then it's a 3-game set. Then it's a 5. Like it was like, all right. Like that's what I was saying when they went to LA. I was like, all right, probably be down 0-2, come back. Gotta get the home crowd ready. They steal one, Dodgers, whatever. But just the mindset of a 7-game series and what you only knew growing up in baseball.
Yeah.
And I know we sound really old now. that's what you remember as a kid. Like, 2-3-2. All right, who we got going? You could pitch 1-4 and all those guys in the 80s. They would pitch 1-4 and 7. Jack Morris, like those are ultimate memories. I meant to ask Joe. I can't wait to talk to Buck about World Series. Because with his dad, like, is he right next to him in the booth? Like, wasn't he his spotter growing up?
I'm sure. If you can get him off the jet ski, I'm sure he'll give you the.
How about that?
Good for him. He's like, hey man, I'm living. I'm gonna go out here and do it.
Troy gets mad when I'm like, oh well,
whatever.
It's in the middle of the South.
I imagine the story.
And he's got the phone. I could never take a selfie video on a jet ski.
Yeah, no, there's that. I don't know how he did it. He might have had a shooter. Do you have a shooter? Did you have a guy? Have
the Ackles and the one next to him?
Could have been.
Yeah, good point. Who was taking the videos from behind?
I mean, I don't know. It's well produced. Well produced. All produced. You're more excited for the World Series than me. I mean,
you're going to be locked in.
I am. I'm just saying you're over here like you're salivating over it. I'm
not.
Like
I didn't watch Phillies Yankees. Like, it got to where the Yankees could clinch in 2009. I'm like, I remember Slumdog Millionaire had just come on video. I love that movie in the theater. I put it on, bottom 7. I was not going to watch the Yankees celebrate. That's the other problem. You can't watch SportsCenter for like 3 days after a team you hate wins it. I think I went 2 weeks without turning on ESPN after the Broncos beat the Packers and Favre in the Super Bowl. It was torture.
So on this pod, we got gum rankings and learned that Steve was locked in a room watching Slumdog Millionaire.
Great movie.
Instead of watching the Yankees and the Phillies because he hates them so much.
Yeah.
You got to let go of the hate, man.
I'm trying.
No, you're not.
I am.
The older you get, those grudges just get more. They get more well worn. You bet on them though. I like that about you. If this is
gonna get something out of it,
happiness hedge.
Right?
That's the ultimate happiness hedge right there. Ultimate
in stripes.
All right.
Oh, stands. I can't.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yankee satin jackets. Well, just wait.
Oh, that's so good.
You're gonna see them.
Staten Island in the building.
God.
Satin Yankee starter jackets.
Cheater jerseys everywhere.
Yeah. Hey, I say let go of the hate. That little kid that reached over the thing and
Jeffrey Mayer, Connecticut kid. Poor Tony Tarasco.
Absolute rubbish. Like, I got way more reason to hate him. Look at that.
I don't want this to be. I don't know how.
Just say it.
Mike Evans, right? Ripped his hamstring last night.
I don't know if he ripped it, but he hurt it.
All I can think about when I see that, because I've done it, there's not a worse physical pain than having to go to the bathroom with your hamstring like that.
Poop?
You can't bend your leg. Just think about it. Next time, try and get down with one leg bent and one leg straight. It's the worst pain in the world. And I see it happen all the time.
Hold on. Gum rankings, Slumdog Millionaire, pooping with a bad
movie.
Pooping with a bad hamstring.
Oh, I don't wish it on anyone.
Okay, so now we're all here imagining it. How do you do it? What do you do?
Incredible balance.
So you're like squatting on one leg with the other leg out?
Somehow you have to have the crutch to help you with the leg straight. And even when it lowers, that's where it starts to, it's brutal. Brutal.
So if on your bingo card you had feel bad for Mike Evans, not for the hamstring.
I do.
But because of the pooping.
Oh.
All right. This has to end. Do you have anything else? Any other musings? Any other random thoughts?
Bloomington, stand up. We are coming in hot.
Here we go. Candy stripes. This ain't basketball season. Not yet. Signetti. He's going to be on SportsCenter with me this week. It's a big one. Telling you, they could be unbeaten heading to Columbus.
Better win this one.
Understood.
This has all the feels.
Well, Rourke's out, right?
Yeah.
That's the concern. That was what on Saturday night. That was the one thing we said. I said I knew he had hurt himself. So, and the backup looked good in this game against Nebraska.
Hey, threw 2 TDs.
We'll see.
Washington on winners.
No, I'm giving Army, Navy, and Indiana and a parlay, and that's it. Those are winners right there.
You won't.
I won't.
You won't.
I think the condo steamer's on it.
You can't write that many minuses.
Nope, I can't. Well, Navy's in the plus
that's right.
situation, getting a boatload from Notre Dame. You and I are both on the record saying either Army or Navy's going to beat them.
Yes.
Well, they got a shot this week.
Boise, UNLV. Who you got?
Is that game in Vegas or Boise?
Vegas, Friday night.
That's a late one.
Multiple TV night, Friday night.
What's that number?
I'll be in bed. Like Boise minus 2.5.
That probably feels like a rebel spot for me.
UNLV's been really good against ranked teams, and Boise's been really good in conference games. That's my favorite game of the weekend.
If it would have been Saturday, you'd have gone.
Yeah, imagine that.
Game day in Vegas.
The wreckage we would see at fucking 2:30 wake-up call.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's 100%. Just straight from the craps table to the set. I don't even play craps. I just scream dollar yo. All right, so go get some bubble yum and thoughts and prayers to Mike Evans. And appreciate you being with us here. SVPod.